How you doing, everyone? Today is a quality control meeting day. Kyle Shanahan's going to be here in about 5 minutes. I'm going to be talking directly to him, but I wanted to come on a few minutes beforehand and talk to you, tell you what I'm going to be doing today. So it's 11 o'clock Pacific time. I'm doing quality control with Kyle Shanahan now. In a couple hours, I'll be doing 49ers coast to coast with Jason Aponte, who's over in New Jersey. Then at 3 o'clock, all 49ers roundtable with Jackhammer Maverick and Jose. And then at 6, 49ers After Dark with Jesse Naylor. So that's the day. I hope you'll be there with me. But now I need to talk directly to Kyle Shanahan because he's here. Kyle, thanks for showing up. I appreciate you sticking with these meetings because you get so much out of them. Now, I spoke with Joe Montana yesterday. He had a lot of interesting things to say. I want to relay them to you. First of all, he says what we all know. You need to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo. It's time. He doesn't seem to think you will. I don't seem to think you will either, even though you might want to. But yeah, humble brag. I spoke to Joe Montana yesterday, the greatest quarterback of all time. I might have been on the fence about whether he was the greatest quarterback of all time before I spoke to him. I was like, maybe it's Tom Brady. Maybe it's Joe Montana. No, he talked to me. So now it's Tom. It's definitely Joe Montana. Anyway, he says you got to move on from Jimmy Garoppolo. You need to get a young quarterback. And he's right. What you can't do, Kyle, is trade for someone like Sam Darnold, because then you'll just repeat the mistake you made. Bring in Sam Darnold, year 4 of his rookie deal. He plays well for like the last 5 games, and Jed and John and Parag and you get all excited and give him a 9-year, $500 million contract. That's what you'll do. So don't do that. Don't trade for Darnold. Don't trade for Matt Ryan, who's 37 or whatever. Just draft a quarterback. You've only drafted one in 4 years, CJ Beathard. That's shameful. It's time. You got to draft another quarterback, and you got to do it before that pick. So CJ was like the 100-something pick in the draft, 103, something like that. You got to do it before then. So I'm going to go through all the different quarterbacks that you can potentially take, and we'll go through the positives and the negatives, the value, where we expect them to go, where you could get them. I'll help you with that. But you got to listen to Joe, Kyle. If Joe talks, you got to listen, because what he said to me is that he tried to tell you not to sign Jimmy Garoppolo. He said that on the record. He was like, I tried to tell him that there's never been a quarterback who like studied under a great quarterback, was a backup for a great quarterback, left that team, went somewhere else and became great in his own right. It's never been done. And I never thought of it like that, because you think of, Steve Young studied under Joe Montana, then took his job, was great as well. Aaron Rodgers, same thing with Brett Favre. But Joe's point is the backups who leave. And why is that a distinction? Let me speak for Joe, if he'll allow me. Kyle, I'm going to speak for Joe here. It's because if that up-and-coming backup is the truth, he's really great and the organization knows it, they don't get rid of him. They get rid of the established Hall of Famer. And how do you know? Because that's what the 49ers did to Joe Montana. The greatest quarterback of all time, wasn't even 35 years old yet. See you, Joe. Steve Young's really good. He's going to be great too. He's younger. That's just the way it is. Have a good time in Kansas City. Same thing with Brett Favre and Aaron Rodgers. They knew Aaron Rodgers was the truth. He had hardly played. They knew he was the truth. Brett Favre, you got a few years left. Enjoy them somewhere else. Have a great time. The Patriots say they like Jimmy Garoppolo. They say he could do the things that Tom Brady could do in practice, but when it came down to it, they weren't willing to push out Tom Brady for Jimmy Garoppolo. End of story. If he were the truth and they knew it, they would have kept him and pushed out Tom Brady. But they didn't do that, because you know what? Jimmy ain't the truth, and we know that now. We see why the Patriots got rid of him. They liked him, but not for 6 years, $137.5 million that you gave him? That's what you gave him. They didn't like him that much. They liked Brady, and they were right, because they went on to win more championships without Jimmy Garoppolo. So you fell for it. And Joe apparently tried to tell you, like, it's a bad idea. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Don't try to get Tom Brady's backup and think you're getting Tom Brady. And when you see 5 good games, give him Tom Brady money. What are you doing? Joe was right. Apparently, he tried to tell you. You didn't listen. So now you're going to listen to Joe through me, okay? Joe says, move on from Jimmy now. Not because he's not great or whatever, because he can't stay on the field. That's the point. There's no evaluation to make with Jimmy Garoppolo. He's not a football player. He's a football spectator like me. And that's not who you want playing quarterback, the guy taking notes. Not good enough. You need to play 16 games every year. He doesn't do that. Goodbye, Jimmy. What you don't want to do is bring in the expensive veteran, Kirk Cousins, don't you dare. Or Sam Darnold, don't you dare. Don't repeat the Jimmy Garoppolo thing. Draft a guy. Draft a guy and start him. But there's a catch there. Let's talk about it. You can't draft a developmental quarterback this year. You can't. That rules out a few guys. We'll talk about them later. But guys who need to learn how to go through progressions because they didn't get much experience at their school. You can't take that guy. Guys who need to work on their mechanics because for whatever reason, they didn't get that type of attention to detail at their school. You can't get that guy. Maybe you could a few years ago. You did a good job in 2012 with Robert Griffin III. You did a great job with him. But back then, there was no COVID-19, no pandemic, and there were OTAs, mini camps, full training camp, and preseason, the entire preseason, which is a great time to get rookies and especially quarterbacks up to speed. You don't have that. What's happening now is the veterans in the NFLPA are pushing to have the same exact pretty much offseason as last year, even though more people are getting the vaccine and there was no vaccine last year. It seems like we're starting to find our way out of the pandemic. Not necessarily. NFLPA wants extra safety, fine. But what that's going to do, what that really is the veterans trying to have a leg up advantage over the young guys. The veterans make more money. They always know that the young guys are going to take their spot because they're just as good or almost as good and cheaper. So they're trying to keep the young guys out. How do you do that? By not giving them an opportunity to develop. No reps, no preseason, no minicamp, no OTAs. So that's where you're at right now. How do you take a developmental quarterback and develop them and have them ready to start week one or year one when there's no offseason program and no preseason? Preseason is really key. That's 4 games that you could give this guy all the time he needs. Remember when Dak Prescott became the starter when Tony Romo went down? Dak Prescott had like all preseason to learn, and it was great. You can't do that. So you need to draft a quarterback this year who is polished, ready to go, as well as someone with upside. That's what you're looking for. It's not easy to find. Let's see if we can get there together. Let's see what Javier says before we go on. Kyle, just a second. The irony is 17 Jimmy made me feel like Joe was playing again. He had that winning aura back then. Yeah, well, he was on the field. He was on the field, and he hadn't gotten injured yet. New Jimmy ain't Joe. He really ain't Joe. And it was interesting to hear the real Joe dismiss Jimmy. Like, seen enough. And that's really the end of the road for a quarterback in San Francisco. When Joe Montana writes you off, I don't think there's any coming back from that. It's like Steve Young writing you off or Jerry Rice writing you off. But worse, because it's Joe freaking Montana. So let's move. Thank you, Javier. Let's move on to the various quarterbacks. Let's start with Trevor Lawrence. Not in the Niners striking distance, but we haven't talked about Trevor Lawrence on this channel. Kyle, I have a feeling you have strong feelings about Trevor Lawrence. And the tip-off is Chris Sims. You have his initials tattooed on your ankle. He has your initials tattooed on his ankle. You guys are very close. Great friends. I mean, I don't have a friend like that. But you guys seem to think similarly. Or you understand how each other think. Great friends. I wouldn't be surprised if you guys go into business one day. If one day when you push John Lynch out of the organization inevitably, which is where it seems like it's going, and I wouldn't be surprised if you replace him with Chris Sims. Anyway, Sims was down on Trevor Lawrence. I mean, he didn't call him the number 1 quarterback in the draft, called him number 2 by a wide margin. Zach Wilson, number 1, going to get to him. And also said he's basically just an athlete, not a particularly refined passer. But basically said he's raw, he's experienced, but mechanically he's all over the place. and is basically a better passing, worse running version of Justin Fields. Liked him better than Justin Fields. Had a lot of questions. It's like, all the things you hold against Mac Jones, Justin Fields playing for an all-star team applies to Trevor Lawrence. And what did he say? Mechanics with his arm. A little all over the place. Really unrefined an athlete. Well, here's the thing about him. He's 6'6", and taller quarterbacks historically have an issue. Think about it. I mean, can you have a 6'6" shortstop? Can you have a 6'6" second baseman? It's hard. A lot of the throws you have to make as a middle infielder are quick snap throws to get a runner who's fast at first base. You don't have time to get the ball, step into the throw, separate your arms, get the whole momentum into it like a pitcher does. You have to make snap throws. 6'6" guys have a tough time doing that. They have these really long arms, and they need to get the whole thing in motion. You know who wasn't 6'6"? Joe Montana. He was 6'2". And what Joe Montana had the ability to do, under center, he's taking a 3-step drop, a 5-step drop, whatever. Say there's pressure in his face immediately before he gets to the end of his drop. He could make snap throws off his back foot, jumping like a shortstop, which is what you have to do in the NFL if you're going to beat pressure. At Clemson, you're not under pressure very much. You're on an all-star team in a terrible conference, the ACC. I'm not saying Trevor Lawrence can't do it. I haven't seen it. When you watch his tape, and I've watched a little bit, you don't see him make those kind of throws. It's a little concerning because here's the list of 6'6" quarterbacks at the combine. Here are the 6'6" or taller quarterbacks dating back to the 1940s. Tell me how many were great. Dan McGuire, Frank Patrick, Brock Osweiler, Paxton Lynch, Mike Glennon, Sonny Gibbs, Scott Mitchell, Mark Wilson, Logan Thomas, Nate Sudfeld, John Skelton, Matt Schaub, Jamarcus Russell, Jonathan Quinn, Tony Pike, John Navarre, Brian McClure, Sean Mannion, Ryan Mallett, Josh Freeman, Nick Foles, Joe Flacco, Tyler Bray, Matt Blunden, Derek Anderson, Jake Luton, Justin Herbert. So Justin Herbert is the exception. Basically, you don't want quarterbacks who are taller than 6'5". The arms become too long. They can't make the snap throws they need to make under pressure. It's too much. Herbert is the exception. He's 6'6", but he has short arms for a big guy. His arms, I think, are a little under 33 inches. It seems to me that arm length is a key measurement with quarterbacks. And if it's longer than 33 inches, you're pretty much never going to be an accurate quarterback. Probably not. Your levers are too long. I don't know where Trevor Lawrence falls in that. There's no combine this year. Maybe we'll find out at his pro day, but I'm curious. What are his arms like? How long are they? Because I see his legs, and his legs are super duper long. He looks like he's standing on stilts. He's got a very weird body type. He's thin. He's got long legs, and I assume he's got long freaking arms. So when Chris Sims says he ranked him 4th of the pure throwers after Wilson, Jones, and Mond, I see what he means. And what I'm talking about you, Kyle, is I know you want what you're looking for and what Sims is looking for. I mentioned that. Sims is starting to talk about short throwers. Usually when people scout quarterbacks, are looking at, well, can you make the tough throws, the long throw to the sideline, the deep throw? Yeah, I mean, you make that throw a couple of times a game maybe. What about the short throws? It's like in golf. Like, yeah, I mean, that's a nice drive. But how about your chipping? How about your putting? Because that's really what you're doing 50, 60% of the time. How about your short throws? It's a lot of short throws in your offense, Kyle. A lot of slants, a lot of quick bang, bang stuff where a quick release is necessary. Does Trevor Lawrence have a quick release? Not especially. No, he's 6'6" with long arms. Now, maybe that just means if you get Trevor Lawrence, which you won't, you would have to adjust your offense, which is always what a good coach does. But you won't do that, Kyle. I'm not saying you're not a good coach, but you're not going to adjust your offense. You're looking for a guy to execute your system. That's why Chris Sims talks about the best short throwers in this draft. It ain't Lawrence. Lawrence is down the field, intermediate, deep. That's not really your offense. You don't have that vertical offense. And plus, he spent his whole career in the shotgun. You want guys who have some experience under center. So when Chris Sims says he likes Zach Wilson more than Trevor Lawrence, I think you do too. Am I right, Kyle? Blink twice if I'm wrong. Say something right now if I'm wrong. See, you didn't say anything or blink twice. So I think you rank Zach Wilson number 1, just like Chris Sims does. We're going to talk about Chris Sims in a minute. But look, all I'm saying is I see what you're saying about Trevor Lawrence. It's possible that Trevor Lawrence is going to be better in college than he is in the NFL because it's possible if he has those super long arms, it'll show with a lower completion percentage than expected in the NFL. Also, he's kind of thin. He's not thick and built like Justin Herbert. I see what you're saying. Anyway, you're not going to get him. Someone else's problem, probably Jacksonville's. Very interesting. Let's stay with this thought when it comes to short throwers and stuff like that. Let's go to the Zach Wilson scouting report. This is a guy you might be able to trade up for. A lot of Niner fans want you to get this guy. He could go number 2. You might be able to get him. Chris Sims thinks he's the best in the draft. Chris Sims watched all of his 2020 tape. Chris Sims clearly didn't watch 2019 or 2018. He says he can do everything. He can make the snap throws. He can throw deep. I mean, he's 6'3". He's a lot. He can make more throws, more off-platform throws than Trevor Lawrence. Maybe his arm's just as strong. Maybe not. But the thing about it, Kyle, like you coached RG3. You should know about the one-year wonder in college. RG3 at Baylor was no big deal. And he had an injury. He had surgery. Didn't he have an ACL injury at Baylor? He had one great year, won the Heisman. Your team took him number 2. You had to coach that guy, and he was a disaster. He got hurt, ran around a lot, wasn't really ready to play. And look at him now. Do you want that guy? To me, there's a lot of similarities there. I mean, how can a guy, Zach Wilson, who's so talented and does so many great things and gets compared to Aaron Rodgers and Patrick Mahomes, play so poorly as a sophomore? That was 2019. He had 11 touchdown passes and 9 interceptions. In 2019, he was almost a 1-to-1 touchdown to interception ratio in college at BYU. Who was he playing that he couldn't throw touchdown passes at BYU? What is that? Explain that one to me, Kyle. I mean, it's not going to be your problem here, but that's a really bad or not good sophomore year and then he has his awakening and learns how to play the position, gets a lot stronger, works out with Tom House, whatever. And Mr. Miyagi does like one of those montages where he like learns to play the position and discipline at the same time. And he's on the beach and it takes him about 30, 45 seconds to learn how to play quarterback. Boom, 2020 hits and he's really good all of a sudden. Yeah, maybe that. Maybe it was the montage. Maybe it was the Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. Or maybe it was the pandemic. The schedule was cupcake. He didn't have to play all those Pac-12 teams he normally has to play. And he looked really good. I don't know. Kyle, would you really trade up for a guy who's had one good year in college? He wasn't even good in 2019. He wasn't even good in 2019. If you just look at the 2020 tape, you're like, man, this guy is Aaron Rodgers, Patrick Mahomes. He's everything. But he's playing 7-on-7 football. His offensive line is terrific. He has a ton of space. He gets like an 8-step running start into his throws. He still doesn't make any throws in the red zone. All of his touchdown passes, all of his big plays come from way out, which is one of the reasons he didn't have any touchdown passes as a sophomore. Didn't have many as a rookie. They don't let him throw in the red zone. They let him throw when there's 70 feet of field in front of him, and he makes big plays off schedule and stuff because he's at BYU playing teams like, I don't even know their names. And he actually has good players on his team. So I like Zach Wilson. I see why Chris Sims ranks him physically ahead of Trevor Lawrence, but Trevor Lawrence has been good for 3 years. At least you know what he's going to be, flaws and all. Zach Wilson could be total fool's gold. Just a guy who had a great year at BYU. How many mediocre athletes could have a great year at BYU? A lot. Imagine if Johnny Manziel went to BYU. He wouldn't have had a great year. What does that prove? You made a lot of cool throws off schedule at BYU. It's 7-on-7 football. So, yeah, Zach Wilson, let that be someone else's problem. I'm not sold on him at all. He could be a flat-out bust. We haven't even talked about his personality. People rag on Josh Rosen for being well-off and rich. Dude, Zach Wilson makes Josh Rosen look poor. Zach Wilson has an uncle who is like the CEO of JetBlue. That guy probably owns Utah. So I don't think you want to go into business with Mr. Wilson, but that's going to be Robert Sala's treat. That'll be his little gift. You get Zach Wilson. All right, well, let's see who you could get. Let's move on. Mac Jones seems to be someone that could fall to 12 or that you guys might trade up for. Chris Sims, your buddy, Kyle, just said that Mac Jones is a perfect fit for your offense. You know what? I got to agree. Knowing what you look for in quarterbacks, I know you like Mac Jones. How do I know that? You drafted CJ Beathard. You drafted CJ Beathard in the 3rd round. Anyone who likes CJ Beathard that much would freaking love Mac Jones. I like Mac Jones. You freaking love Mac Jones, and I know it. Don't tell me you don't, because I see it all over your face. You love him. I think he's all right. He's pretty good. I think he's a backup who has a chance to be a starter. You think he's Kurt Warner, don't you? Well, we'll see. Here's what I see from Mac Jones. He is everything. He all the good things Chris Sims says about him are true. He has the anticipation. He processes better than anyone in this class. He always knows where to go with the football by the time he reaches the back foot of his drop. He can get through 2 progressions by the time he gets to the back foot of his drop and get to his 3rd before the first hitch. He's great. Mentally, he's got it all. Yeah, mentally, he's got it all. But you know who else mentally has it all? Nick Mullins. You put Nick Mullins at Alabama, he would have torn it up. He would have set records like he set records at Southern Miss. The thing about Mac Jones has 0 physical traits that stand out. Just like CJ Beathard. CJ Beathard would have torn it up at Alabama. They didn't want him. CJ Beathard would have tore it up at Alabama. Also a guy with no physical traits that stand out. Not big, not particularly mobile, not a super strong arm. Mac Jones, all the great things he does, he still doesn't move. So you're not going to get any mobility from him in the NFL. He's a guy, people compare him to Tom Brady. Yeah, but he's way littler than Tom Brady. Tom Brady's 6'5". Tom Brady can stand tall in the middle of the pocket, make tiny little steps, and still throw over the middle over his guy. Mac Jones, when the pocket collapses, not when it constricts around him, he looks engulfed. He looks not big. And usually quarterbacks who are 6'2", 6'3" can move. Aaron Rodgers could move. Joe Montana could move. Who are the 6? Tony Romo could move. Who are the 6'2", 6'3" pocket quarterbacks who offer no mobility? And don't have cannon arms? Kurt Warner. He had a pretty strong arm, though, and like the quickest release ever. I don't see that in Mac Jones. He could be Kurt Warner, maybe. Who else? Jimmy. Jimmy's a 6'2" pocket quarterback who can't move. I think Mac Jones is probably better than Jimmy because Mac Jones hasn't gotten hurt a million times yet. It seems to throw downfield better. Who else? Kirk Cousins? Yeah. Kirk Cousins. So you could get the next Kirk Cousins. And you know what? That's fine. If you get him at 12, that's okay, I guess. I'm not really that into Mac. There's a couple of quarterbacks I like better than Mac Jones, but he's better than other guys. I just feel that physically he doesn't bring enough. That he's basically a high-level backup, kind of like Nick Mullins. That he's got the processing speed. He's got it all. Smart kid. It's a natural, but he just doesn't have enough physically. Maybe if he was 6'5" and 235, 240, maybe. The way, Phillip Rivers is. But he's not. He's littler than that. And when that pocket constricts, he just looks small. And he looks like he can't necessarily. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. Prove me wrong, Mac. Kyle, don't take Mac Jones. Don't do it, dude. There are better quarterbacks out there. There are better options than Mac Jones. Can he operate your offense from day one? Yeah, I think he can. Can he do a better job than Jimmy Garoppolo? Yeah, I think he can. He would be an upgrade over. Is he an instant upgrade over Jimmy Garoppolo? Yes, he is. Mac Jones absolutely is. But in my opinion, there are better options than Mac Jones. Guys with more upside in the sense that Jones has very little. So let's move on to my guy, Kellen Mond. A lot of people rolling their eyes, but I feel vindicated. I've been talking about Kellen Mond since like December, and all of a sudden Chris Sims ranks him number 4 on his big board of quarterbacks and says, this guy has a special, special arm. He is the number 3 passer, pure passer in the draft after Wilson and Jones. A better pure passer than Trevor Lawrence. I didn't freaking say that. Hold on. Mark says, is Rosen better than Mac Jones? I can do that. Hold on. I can do that. Let me come back to Kellen Mond. Hold on. I lost it. Is Rosen better than Mac Jones? Rosen is more physically gifted than Mac Jones. Mac Jones is not a developmental player. Mac Jones is ready. He has no upside. He's ready to go. He processes defenses. He pushes the ball down the field. He's not going to improve much. He's who he is. He's been playing the same way since he first stepped on the field at Alabama. Rosen is a project. He didn't work out at 2 teams. He has confidence issues because he hasn't worked out. He has a very low completion percentage when he has played. He needs development. He's a project, even though he's not mobile. So I think they're actually different. Rosen has much better physical gifts. Rosen was the number 1 quarterback out of high school for a reason. Mac Jones is not. So that's why, like, you draft Mac Jones, he's the same kind of quarterback as Josh Rosen, but less gifted. More ready, less gifted, but you have the ready quarterback. How much better than Nick Mullins is Mac Jones? I don't know. I really feel Nick Mullins would have torn it up at Alabama, just like every quarterback does. And you say Mac Jones is better than Tua Tagovailoa. Okay, so what? Tua's going to be a backup in the NFL. He's failing. He doesn't have physical. You watch him on the field. He looks small, slow, and weak-armed. Mac Jones is better than that. Okay, but that doesn't prove anything. Really like Mac Jones. He's like going to go 8th to Carolina because he's kind of like Joe Burrow. No, Joe Burrow could move. Joe Burrow was an athlete. Joe Burrow run for touchdowns and extend plays. Mac Jones offers none of that. He doesn't offer anything off script. He's not a improvisational player. And it's like, well, neither's Tom Brady. Well, he's not Tom Brady. He's a smaller version. Is he Kirk Cousins? Is he Kurt Warner? I don't know. Just stick with Josh Rosen. That is the pocket quarterback developmental prospect, and draft someone with some mobility that's ready to play, which brings me to my next guy. All right. Kellen Mond. I've been talking about him since December. Sims puts him at number 4 on his big board. I'm excited. I feel vindicated. So here's what Sims said about Kellen Mond. He was more complimentary than I've ever been. He said, no doubt first round pick. Well, you know what? I have to agree. I mean, if Jordan Love was a first round pick last year, then this guy has to be a first round pick. He's a better prospect than Jordan Love. Accomplished more, better athlete, better runner, just as good of a thrower. Yeah. Jordan Love went 26. Kellen Mond's probably going above that. Good call, Chris Sims. And what I liked about Sims' breakdown of Mond is he didn't even talk about Mond's athleticism until the very end. He said, look, he's a better pure passer than Trevor Lawrence. I've never said that. That's a lot. He goes pure passers in terms of just mechanics, accuracy, repeatability, consistency. Number 1, Zach Wilson. Number 2, Mac Jones. Number 3, Kellen Mond. Number 4, Trevor Lawrence. He says basically Lawrence is more of an athlete, but Kellen Mond, quick release, strong arm, accurate. You're like, well, what's up with his completion percentage? Well, what's up with his wide receivers and his system? The other thing that Chris Sims said, which was right on, is like, don't knock Kellen Mond, knock Jimbo Fisher's system. It's predictable. When you watch the film, you see defenses all over his concepts and Kellen Mond completing tight window throws despite the predictability. I mean, I agree with that. So what's so cool about Kellen Mond is, to me, he's right there with Mac Jones in terms of processing speed. When you watch him go from 1 to 2 to 3, Mond's a little quicker. Mac Jones a little quicker, but Mond is very good at it. He's very accurate, especially over the middle, which is where his best receivers are. I think he'd be accurate outside the numbers as well if he had a wide receiver who could get open and make catches, other than against his chest. So he's an excellent passer, as Chris Sims and I would agree, as you would probably agree. He's got the quick release. He's a good short thrower. He's great on slants. In fact, He's the best slant thrower in this class. The best. Better than Lawrence, better than Wilson, better than Jones. No one throws the slant in this class better than Mond. And you know it, Kyle. That's why you like him too. I know you're mad at me that I've been talking about him. That was your ace up. You're going to get him in round 2. Forget it. Forget taking Kellen Mond in round 2. You got to get him in round 1 if you want him. That's between you and God. If you want to make that investment, I won't knock you if you do. I like Kellen Mond a lot. The more I think about him, the more I like him. And Chris Sims just validated everything I said, everything I felt. So he's a polished passer. He's a lot like Colin Kaepernick in the sense the way they're built, the way they play, the way they run. They're skinny, they're angular. They don't make guys miss, but they build up momentum. Difference is this guy's a way better passer than Colin Kaepernick. Quicker release. He can make snap throws in the face of pressure. He anticipates. He processes better. A way better passer than Colin Kaepernick. But he's an inch shorter, 20 pounds lighter, and slower than Colin Kaepernick is. So the trade-off is not as good of a runner, better passer. I'll take it. That means he's a better quarterback than Colin Kaepernick. I don't care about Kaepernick. You run for 1,000 yards a year at Reno. This guy is the real deal. This guy's a real quarterback who can run, who can make plays off schedule. Mac Jones can't do that. He can execute all the stuff Mac Jones does plus. Mac Jones can't do all the stuff Kellen Mond does. Kellen Mond can start right away for the 49ers and win. He won 9 games and lost only 1 last year in the SEC on a team with no NFL playmakers. None. He can start right away for the 49ers. He needs no development. No development. What he needs is a better team. He needs George Kittle. He needs Brandon Ayuk. He needs Deebo Samuel. He's never played with anyone like this. You put him around those guys, and he will fit right in. He's as athletic as any of them. He will make them better. They will make him better. Kellen Mond is a better option for you, Kyle, than Mac Jones, which means you have to decide whether you want to take Kellen Mond with the 12th pick or whether, if you have to. How many other teams are going to make this decision too? This determination that Mond is better than Jones. It's a better athlete. Processes just as well. Arm is just stronger. Can offer you something off script, which Jones can't. Be curious to see how Kellen Mond's stock rises. You may not even get him. Maybe he's the guy that the Panthers take with the 8th pick. Maybe he goes top 5. Who knows? If more people in the league agree with Sims that Mond is better than Fields and Lance, maybe Mond is the guy that goes. Maybe you don't even get a chance to get him. But look, all I'm saying is if the choice is Jones and Mond, take Mond. And if you can get Mond in round 2, oh my God, please take him then. If you have to trade up a few spots, maybe you should. Because he's perfect for you. You don't have to develop him. He's ready to go. And he's an athlete. He still has upside because he's never been in an offense like this. He's been held back by Jimbo Fisher's spread RPO crap. And the fact that he has no playmakers. You can give them. You can provide that for him. He would fulfill Joe Montana's advice of a young quarterback that you can develop. Kellen Mond fits. If you want to get Mac Jones, that's okay. You're not going to get Trevor Lawrence or Zach Wilson. Kellen Mond would be A+. Now let's move on. Justin Fields. He could be available. His stock is plummeting. People saw him as the number 2 pick before the season started, but he had some bad games against Indiana and Northwestern and Alabama. Those 3. Particularly Indiana. That was just frightening, the decisions he made under pressure. I mean, wow. But what's interesting about Chris Sims, he didn't really talk about, he said, yeah, he's a one-read quarterback in the sense that it's Ohio State system, doesn't prepare him. It's just one read and panic. That's how it's always been. But what he said about Fields is the mechanics, kind of like with Trevor Lawrence. Got a floppy arm, big floppy release, not a quick release, not a compact release, not a repeatable release. And he compared it to Cardale Jones' release, compared it to Dwayne Haskins' release, the other Ohio State quarterbacks who preceded Justin Fields. And what he's saying is there's a reason why these guys have failed as passers and why he doesn't like Justin Fields, or why he feels Justin Fields at least needs mechanical tweaks and improvements, because that elongated throwing motion, it's just not good for the short throws. Some offenses wouldn't care. Ohio State doesn't care. They throw downfield a lot. Why? Because they have a hell of an offensive line, and they can the guy can take as long as he wants to throw downfield. But on the Niners, there's a lot of short throws. There's a bad offensive line. There's limited opportunities to throw the ball down the field. Justin Fields, his best attributes would be wasted here. Here he's throwing slants all day, a couple of downfield throws, and he's not good at throwing the short stuff. If you watch him in a game, he will make 3 or 4 throws where you're like, damn, that is the best throw I've seen. Like that deep out, that post, that was the highest degree of difficulty, and very few guys can nail that. And then he'll throw a quick out or a slant, and he'll just totally freaking miss. It's like, how did you miss that? And you realize like you are way too inconsistent to be a good quarterback now. He can be a dual threat guy who runs a lot and throws sometimes until he develops as a passer. But Kyle, you don't want to structure your offense that way. That was your worst nightmare in Washington, that you had to structure offense differently for RG3 while he developed as a passer. You don't want to do that. That's why you got rid of Colin Kaepernick. When you got here, you don't want to change your offense to accommodate a running quarterback while he learns or does it how to be a quarterback. So Justin Fields doesn't have the mechanics to be a good short thrower. Not for you. Watch the offense with Matt Ryan, completely different. Yeah, but Matt Ryan still has the ability to throw the short pass. He can go downfield, but he doesn't have that long, elongated release where he can't throw a slant. That's Justin Fields. That's Cam Newton. Cam Newton's not coming to the Niners. Now that you think about it, he's not a good short thrower. Kyle doesn't want that. Kyle wants guys who nail the slant route every time, 10 out of 10 times. It can't be an adventure. That is the backbone of the passing game in San Francisco, Santa Clara. The slant, the dig, the in-breaker from 5 to 15 yards. That is what the Niners freaking do. And that's not Justin Fields' game. Justin Fields' game is the long throws, the difficult stuff. Like he'd be better in a vertical offense, like what Bruce Arians does or what the Panthers used to do with Cam Newton down the freaking field. Where I expect he'll be the kind of guy who has a 55% completion percentage, but still averages 7.5 yards an attempt. That kind of guy. Justin Fields, not your kind of quarterback, Kyle. Kellen Mond is. Justin Fields needs development. You don't have time. No preseason. He needs mechanical tweaks. You can't do that. You're a wide receiver. Your quarterback coach is Rich Scangarello. You have no track record of developing any quarterback. You need a guy who's developed. It ain't Justin Fields. Mac Jones has Tom Brady body, probs a future Hall of Famer. Yeah, just because of the body. You're right. A little off topic, but what do you think of letting go of Jimmy and Trent and going huge free agency and re-signing players, best team possible, to a first-round quarterback? Yeah, I like that. Get rid of Jimmy and Trent, the two most overpriced players on the team. The guys who missed time. Trent's almost 33. Don't give a 33-year-old player $20-something million. I don't care what he does. Get rid of him. Jimmy Garoppolo, get rid of him. Get younger, healthier players. I'm with Todd on this one. I like that. Yeah, no brainer. Will they do it though? No, because they don't watch the quality control as much as you guys do, as they should. All right, I got more to say. 2 more quarterbacks. Trey Lance. What Chris Sims said about Trey Lance, he's a better short thrower than Fields. To me, what I'm thinking is that you, Kyle, and Chris Sims like Trey Lance a little bit better than Justin Fields, even though he ranked Justin Fields ahead of Trey Lance. The problem with Trey Lance is a multi-year project. He has so little experience. I feel like he's more suited to your offense because of his short throwing ability. But dude, one season of playing, I mean, think about it. He's played 1 game in the last 400 days-ish. That number is going to grow to about 500 by the time the season comes around or more. I can't count. And no preseason, no minicamp. How do you get Trey Lance ready to play at all next year? You don't. He doesn't play. So that's a developmental prospect. You don't have the ability to develop quarterbacks or the time. Mostly the ability, but the time as well. So Trey Lance is not an option for you. If you take Trey Lance in round 1, my God, it's going to be bad news because you can't develop quarterbacks and you don't have time to do it either. The double whammy is going to get in the way. So don't do it. I don't think you will, though. I'm pretty sure you're not going to draft Trey Lance, and I'm pretty sure you being the smartest guy in the room, and I'm always the smartest guy in the room, we share that, the arrogance of just being right all the time and seeing things that 99% of people don't. You've been that guy being like, nah, man, Kellen Mond is better than Justin Fields and Trey Lance. That's me too. I'm the same guy, but I take it one step further. He's better than Mac Jones too. So stick to your guns. Don't let Jed York and Parag Marath pressure you into Trey Lance because he's only going to get you fired. Ask John if there's news on the Juice extension. Oh, what's up, Gavin? Gavin is the biggest Juice fan. I love that. You haven't called into the Cohn phone recently, man. We miss you. Thank you. From Wales. He's in Wales. All right, final guy, Kyle, and then I'm going to let you go. Kyle Trask. You thought I forgot about Kyle Trask. I'm doing you a favor, Kyle. All that talk I did about Kellen Mond, now you're going to have to take him with your first-round pick. Forget round 2. I haven't been pumping Kyle Trask stock up like that. I could have, but I didn't. So thank me. That's your ace up your sleeve, Kyle Trask. Here's the thing. I think I do prefer Kellen Mond because he gives you the off-schedule athlete stuff that Kyle Trask doesn't. But so I like Kellen Mond better than Trask. I like him better than Jones, which means I like Kellen Mond a whole lot, more than freaking just about anyone. Kyle Trask, though, I also like him better than Mac Jones. And I like Mac Jones. Every good thing you say about Mac Jones, he processes well, he anticipates, he's accurate, he throws downfield. All that is true about Kyle Trask. The difference is Kyle Trask is big, but not too big. He's 6'5", doesn't have the super long arms. He's got kind of short arms, it seems to me, for a big dude. He's very good on the short stuff, very good short thrower, very good downfield thrower, and he's freaking big. So while Mac Jones has good pocket movement, so does Kyle Trask. The difference is when that pocket closes in, Mac Jones disappears. Kyle Trask is not phased. He can still make passes. He can hang in there. He can stiff arm people away from him. He can make throws with people hanging on him. It's the Ben Roethlisberger effect. He's freaking big. And size is an asset, as Chris Sims said. It is a freaking asset. He's got it. Mac Jones doesn't. Also, he's got way more experience playing under pressure. Alabama has a great run game and a great defense, which means they're playing with the lead all the time. Mac Jones gets the luxury of play action all the time. Play action makes every quarterback better. It freezes the defense, gives a quarterback more time to throw, all of that. Kyle Trask doesn't get that. His defense gives up 30 points a game. He has no run game. His offensive line is trash. The offense is Kyle drop back and throw. And yeah, he has great receivers. And I think if Kellen Mond were at Florida, he would have been putting up Kyle Trask numbers too. Even better. But if you put Kyle Trask at Alabama and Mac Jones at Florida, the results would be the same, if not better for Alabama, because Kyle Trask is bigger and, in my opinion, better. They're similar. You know, if Mac Jones is a backup plus, maybe that's all Kyle Trask is as well. But Kyle Trask, to me, seems like clearly a better prospect than Mac Jones. And I don't understand why people don't see that. All the good virtues people say about Mac Jones is like, does that not apply? Does that not apply to Kyle Trask? So really what you're saying is you like Mac Jones' win-loss record. Okay. What was Greg McElroy's win-loss record at Alabama? What was A.J. McCarron's? Who cares? You know? So Kyle Trask, to me, Kyle, is now your ace up your sleeve. If Kellen Mond is the 18th pick in the draft and you don't want to take him at 12, okay. You want to get Kyle Trask at 43? Well, I'll try my best not to blow up the spot on that one. I'll try my best not to tell everyone that that's who you want. Because it seems to me if you like Mac Jones, then you like Kyle Trask. If you like C.J. Beathard, you got to like Kyle Trask because all of Kyle Trask's athletic limitations, I mean, they're nothing compared to C.J. Beathard's. It's way bigger than C.J. Beathard. He's the same kind of non-athlete, tough, gritty pocket passer you seem to like, and he'll be available in round 2. That's your guy, unless you like Kellen Mond in round 1, and if you do, God bless you. God bless you. Kyle, thanks for coming. You can go. I'm going to take a couple questions. See yourself out. Jonathan Sterling, what if take O-line with our first pick, move up with second pick, and take cornerback, trade Jimmy G for Stephon Gilmore, and then trade for Deshaun Watson? Jonathan, that's a lot. I don't think you can pull it all off. I don't think you can pull it all off. I mean, maybe you could. O-line first pick, move up with the second pick, take cornerback, trade Jimmy G for Stephon Gilmore. Oh, man. It's possible. But you know what? I'm just going to stick with Joe Montana's advice. Draft a quarterback. Trading for Deshaun Watson, he's great. He went 4-12 last year. And that's not to say he's not great. It's just to say that he needs a team. And the Niners aren't that great of a team. They're not what they were in 2019. They're not one Deshaun Watson away from winning the Super Bowl. Yeah, they'll go to the playoffs with Deshaun Watson. They'll lose. Just draft a quarterback. If you trade all your draft picks to get Deshaun Watson, you can't build around him. Now, if you're willing to trade Bosa, that's another topic entirely. If the Niners are willing to trade Bosa for Watson, maybe they can get him. But still, eventually, you can be paying him $35, $37 million a year. Where are you going to be doing that? Not winning Super Bowls? I just draft a quarterback. You don't have to have the greatest quarterback in the league. Just a quarterback you can win with on a rookie deal. Start there. Start there. Work for Kaepernick. All right. Okay. I'm going to head out. I got to prepare for 49ers Coast to Coast in an hour and 15 minutes with Jason Aponte. I will see you then. I'll be all over your YouTube today. 1 o'clock, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, maybe a little later. Who knows? But thanks for allowing me to wear my quality control jacket. I'll be back with a suit and tie later because I know you expect it and I want to deliver. I'll see you then.